One father is worth more than 100 schoolmasters. George Herbert, English poet, orator, and priest of the Church of England. All right. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the Liberty Dad Podcast, a discussion on politics and culture. I'm your host, DL, America's most objective libertarian. If you're tuning in live, thank you so much for giving me your time so early. You know, MAHA is all the rage. Make America healthy again. But will legislation do it? If that doesn't work, then maybe shaming people will do it. Maybe. The answer is less fulfilling for a self absorbed America whose answer seems to rely on impositions, that is, legislation and shaming, and less on inspiration. A generation of social media addicts may need to learn a new skill. All right, today, folks, we are talking about school lunches. So, what inspired today's show? Well, let me just show you. I saw this social media post. So here it is. This is from somebody, I think they're a citizen journalist, goes by the name Sarah Fields. She said, "Sorry, but no, this isn't food. It's garbage. This is not normal. This is setting your child up for failure. Make healthy normal again." You know, folks, this whole make something again is kind of annoying. Although I did see a funny one. It was like, "Make America, uh, it's FSK." It basically was when you condense it down to just the initials, it sounded like somebody was saying, like, a slang version of the MFer. It was kind of amusing. I can't remember what it was, though. It was like MAFSCA or something. I don't remember. Anyway, otherwise, they're just I find this kind of annoying because it's like people are just running around chanting some sort of slogan as if that slogan itself is going to do something. But then when you really look under the hood, you find that a lot of it is really just, hey, let's do this. Hey, government, or hey, you, or hey, somebody else. It's never like, hey, I'm doing my part, you know? And so I was immediately put off by this. And you might, like anybody that follows my YouTube channel, you might have seen that I had posted a YouTube short the other day of me working at a property, which I will be doing again today, for the record. And my wife and I were doing some demolition on this particular property, and I took a time out just to make this quick video. And in there, I basically say, like, okay, a lot of people are complaining and saying, hey, don't just tell us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. You know, like, you got to do something better than that. And I was like, that's a fair point. Like that, like, just telling somebody get better isn't enough. So I made the video where I was, and yeah, somebody's saying in the comments like, "Hey, play the YouTube short." I don't have it at the moment readily available. Maybe I can grab it here a little bit. But in the video, I um I said, "You're right. That's a good point. Here's what we're doing at this house. We're doing some demolition. So here's an idea for you. Go to Home Depot, grab, like, go to their tool rental section, and then familiarize yourself with all the tools in there. And then go to your local real estate meetup. And there's probably one in your city, especially if you live in a bigger city. Go to your local real estate meetup and just start introducing yourself to people and saying, like, look, I'm starting a demo business. Like, I will come and demo your property. I will take up the tile for you. I will, I will rip out walls. I will do this. You don't need a license this far. I mean, check your respective states. Here in Florida, you don't need a license for that. And so, I was like, this is a business idea. I was in the video that I made it on a Sunday afternoon. My wife and I were working on it. So I'm like, if you want to do something, you have to, like, get out there and do it. But at the same time, I can understand where maybe people don't have an idea exactly. Maybe they don't know exactly what to do. So maybe we should kind of like help them out. So here's let's go back to that social media post here. So this is the post from Sarah Fields. So let's take a little bit closer look at the specific comments or the post that she was criticizing. So we go here, and so this is initially this. So she found a post elsewhere. It looks like maybe it was on Facebook or something. And this apparently a mom. I assume. Yeah, it's a mom. She said, "This was my child's lunch today. Nothing cut up in a cute shape. No handwritten note. There's not a theme or decorative lunchbox, nothing she could heat up, no separate containers, fruit thrown in a plastic bag. Sometimes I throw in a little pizzazz, something extra. Sometimes I yell as she's getting out at a school drop off, oh crap, hot lunch today? And guess what? I'm still a magic mom. Okay. And then here's a picture of the actual food that excuse me, the food that she actually sent the kid with. So we have it up on the screen here, and I'll describe it for anybody that's just listening. There's a little bag with about, I don't know, 10 or 15 raspberries, an Uncrustable, which is like this pre-made peanut butter jelly sandwich type thing, Cheetos, Yo Crunch Oreo. So it's like yogurt with some Oreo cookies in there, and then a fruit roll up. I would agree this is not really a good lunch, okay? I get it. It's not a good lunch. I'm not defending it and saying, "Oh, wow, there's nothing wrong with that." Like, it's a terrible idea. But, like, does this actually work? That's the real question. Because a lot of people are like, "Well, we need to shame people. We need to do this." And my question is it effective? Like, can you shame a mom into eating healthier, into feeding her kids healthier? And I don't think it's right. I don't think you can. I think it doesn't work. I've seen other videos where there's a particular woman that I've seen her videos floating around. She's like, this is what's she call herself? Not a peaceful mom. She calls herself not a crunchy mom. Uh, ah, it's some term for like a mom that's like relaxed, like really relaxed and chill. I think I've seen a couple of her videos floating by, one where she's like, "I'm the mom that lets my kids play watch as much YouTube as they want," or something like that. "I'm the mom that, feeds them hot dogs and macaroni and cheese." And but she called herself a specific name. I can't remember. There's all these weird names for moms out there. They're like, "Oh, I'm a crunchy mom. I'm a this. I'm a that." Look, I'm just a Liberty dad. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm just a dad. I'm trying to do right by my kid, and I'm sure that most of you are. I don't need all these labels. They're just pointless. So anyway, I see these videos come by and people make fun of her and they're like, "Oh yeah, I can't believe she would feed that to her kids." And like, think about it for a second. She's posting the video, like, for you to see. She knows probably that you're going to mock her. I feel like mocking her is probably not going to be it. I have a hard time believing that because like, it's not like somebody else is in there secretly videotaping her. She's videotaping herself and putting it out there and saying, "This is what I do." And then people are making fun of her, and then they're like, "Oh, I can't believe America's so fat and unhealthy." Well, why? Like, this woman puts it out there, and you seem to think that if you just make fun of her enough, she will fall into line, right? And it's like, no, that's not what's happening because she put it out there for you to see in the first place. So I guess it's fun to mock people. I get it, but at the end of the day, I'm not sure that I'm really buying the argument from people where they go, "I just care about children." Well, if you care about children, and that's fair. That's a reasonable thing to do. Like when I see a child that's crying or ridiculously obese, I feel bad for them, right? Like I care about children. But if you really care about children to the point where it's becoming a thing, like you talk about it and you're like, I just want, children to be healthy. Well, then wouldn't you do whatever you have to do to help see that through, right? Like, okay, you evaluate and say, I want kids to be so healthy that I will do whatever it takes. I'll mock people. Okay, but what if that's not what it takes? What if it takes something else, right? And like, is RFK going to make America healthy again? Like, we have this MAHA movement and people are excited about it, and that's fair. I think it's a good thing to be excited about the prospect of having a healthier America. There's nothing wrong with that. However, haven't we already tried a government approach? Well, as it turns out, we have. Remember Let's Move, the health initiative by Michelle Obama back in 2010? That was explicitly to make school lunches healthier. Well, let's see how that was reported on, and then let's see how that turned out. So here we go. We got some news articles up here. The Reflector Online, Obama's Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act 14 years later. The act has resulted in children across America eating 23% more fruit and 16% more vegetables at school. That's how it was reported recently. Like, okay, maybe so. Um, but let's keep going. New Hope Network, Trump administration rolls back Michelle Obama's healthy school lunch program. The healthier school lunch program, championed by then First Lady Michelle Obama, was passed in 2010, called the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act, right? So they were trying to make sure that kids weren't hungry and they were eating healthy. Sounds good. US News and World Report, Trump admin officially rolls back Michelle Obama's national lunch guidelines. This was 2018, reported in 2018. Then we got Trump administration rolls back Michelle Obama's healthy school lunch push. That's 2017. So was it any good? How was it reported on at the time? Right? Because it's one thing to go and be like, oh, I can't believe Trump rolled this back. Like, how dare he? Michelle was just trying to make, Michelle and Obama were just trying to help little kids be healthier so they could live a long life, you know, freer from disease. Okay, fair enough. Well, let's take a look back in those times. So, back in 2014, Washington Times wrote 1 million kids stopped school lunch due to Michelle Obama's standards. Hmm. New school lunch standards implemented as a result of First Lady Michelle Obama's anti obesity campaign have led to more than 1 million kids leaving, and it goes on to say the school lunch line. Like they don't even want to eat it. That's interesting. So much for making them healthy again, right? Civil Eats, whatever happened to Michelle Obama's school lunch program? Districts and states, including California, New York, and Texas, have dropped the program because their students simply weren't eating the healthier foods. This was in 2013. Then you see Michelle Obama's from the National Review, Michelle Obama's healthy school lunches. The HHFKA, the healthy whatever it was, set new nutrition standards for school meals while expanding access to taxpayer-funded breakfast and lunch to millions of students. Okay, so that just kind of tells you about it. And really, I was just grabbing some headlines. The Hill: should Congress trash Michelle Obama's lunch program? Fewer kids are buying lunch at school, despite the First Lady's best efforts since the passage of the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act. That's the HHFKA. I don't. I don't have. We got to get. We need to make America stop using acronyms again. Anyway, the Washington Post. School kids are blaming Michelle Obama for their quote gross school lunches. School kids around the country are tweeting rather unfortunate pictures of the meals they're being served at lunchtime and thanking First Lady. That's back in 2014. Hmm. Maybe Trump rolling it back wasn't so bad. They weren't eating it anyway, which means what? You're wasting it. You're spending money on something, and then you're not even getting the value because the kids are like, "Screw it, I ain't eating this. I'll wait till I get home and have a soda pop and Doritos." The Hill again, Michelle's meals turn off the kids. More than 1,000,000 kids confronted by healthier school lunches are turning up their noses, leaving the cafeteria and heading out to get a burger instead. Huh. Why kid from Vox? Why kids on Twitter are blaming Michelle Obama for her gross school lunches? 2014. Almost done here. Daily Mail. Like even across the pond, they figured it out. More than 1,000,000 children abandoned school meals after Michelle's healthy eating initiative. 2014 again. And then the last one here, Daily Mail. Michelle Obama railed against on Twitter by students sick of smaller, healthier food portions. So that's weird. Like, okay, it seems like government's not the answer. Sorry, MAHA folks. Now, if you want to make an argument and say, hey, maybe MAHA can just undo some regulations that were interfering, sure, I would probably agree. But based on the evidence, government creating an initiative and saying, we want this thing to happen. We're going to do a thing so that we can get these particular results apparently didn't get the results. So do you think that RFK is going to make healthier school lunches for kids than Michelle did? I don't think so, right? Like something else has to happen. But what is the answer? Well, after the intermission here, I don't see any comments that I really need to address. I can take a look here real quick. But after I think we can get to that after the intermission here. I remember the GOP had a fit with healthy school food in schools. That Liberty lady says, yeah, they did have a fit about it. And then here they are. They're like, Maha, this is so awesome. We're gonna make America healthy again. You know, we're gonna ban food dyes, and bam, all y'all gonna be skinnier. Like that's apparently the answer. But apparently it's not the answer, at least if we go by evidence. But apparently they know something that I don't know from history. They've got some new thing that's gonna totally work this time around. Anyway, after intermission, we'll get into it because I did a thing yesterday. I went and I spent some time at the store, and so I've got some things to show you. So let's go to intermission here real quick, and then we'll be right back. Hey, Liberty fam, do me a favor. If you enjoy the show, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button to my channel. And for the really serious folks out there, I want you to hit that bell so that you never miss an episode. By the way, if you want to support the show, head over to libertydad.locals.com and sign up. For $5, you can be part of this show. There, I'll engage supporters of the show. We'll discuss topics that you want me to talk about, response videos that you would like to see, or anything related to the show. And I'll even have a monthly subscribers only episode. By the way, I'm always looking for dads to join me for Dad Talk. That's my series where I invite everyday dads on to talk about what's important to them in the context of being a dad. No argument, no debate, and dads choose the topic. It's my way of raising dad voices. If you're a dad or you know a dad who has something to say, let's get connected. Episodes air live on Friday mornings or Friday evenings, whichever works best for dads. All right, let's get back to the show. All right, there we go. I had to hit that unmute button. Okay, so I saw this in the comment while the show was playing or while the intermission was playing. All this talk of food is making me hungry. I know, right? Hopefully, you're gonna go eat something healthy. But so here's the thing. I see comments from it's usually moms. I don't usually see dads really getting into this conversation too much, but I'm Liberty Dad and that's what I do. So I will jump into this conversation. I see moms all the time getting on Twitter, criticizing other moms. In fact, I follow some people in some of the things that they see because they're really more involved in these circles. And I'm just like, holy wow. Like, you must, like, some of these moms must be working from home, or maybe not even working, but they must be stay at home moms that literally have nothing better to do than get on the internet and take swipes at other moms. And again, the question is, if you care so much about kids, are you willing to go as far as even saying, maybe I shouldn't criticize other moms? Maybe I should go and help educate other moms. Well, I'm going to do just that because that's how dad works, right? You can always count on dad. At least that's how I see it. All right, so let's take a look at that original meal here real quick. And we're going to identify some stuff. So here is the original meal. And let's put some details up. So what I did yesterday was I took this picture and I went to the store and I literally took like 30 pictures at the store. I was like walking around Publix and I took like 30 some pictures and of different foods. And here was my goal. Number one, I wanted to get some prices because I wanted to see what's the cost difference. Number two, I wanted to see, okay, let's try to find some healthier options in the store that are also packaged. Okay? Because look, I get it. I tell people eat the perimeter. However, there are foods that aren't so bad within the aisles. There are foods for which I would not buy that are also in the aisles. And so it's up to us, customers, parents, whatever, to go in and make the appropriate choices. But maybe people don't always understand, maybe people don't know how to make those choices, or maybe people are under the impression that buying healthier foods is absolutely an astronomical thing for their wallet. So we're going to find out. The other thing that I wanted to do is I was going to construct some meals, some counter meals, if you will. And I wanted to do a couple things with that. Number one, I wanted to count the calories. And the reason I count calories, because calories in, calories out, right? And my son, the sweet spot for him, roughly, he's 6 years old. The sweet spot I've noticed is about 500 calories, roughly, for lunch. Like, I've noticed that when I put together a meal and I check it out and I just kind of quickly look and say, okay, what's the rough calorie count here? It's usually somewhere around 500, and then that's when he doesn't come home saying, "Yeah, I was actually kind of a little hungry, Dad." So, okay, cool. The other thing I wanted to count was carbs and sugars because I think when it comes to packaged food, those things do matter, right? Like, I think it matters a little bit less if you're eating like meat and vegetables, and fruit, as long as you're not eating too much fruit. So I think generally you don't have to count all these things. So like if you're just like, you know what, I'm gonna make me, a steak, and then I'm gonna steam up some vegetables, and I'm gonna throw some salt and some pepper on all that. I don't think like you can count all the calories and the carbs and all that, but I don't think it's nearly as necessary. I think it is necessary when you're eating Cheetos, because it's very easy to eat a lot more. So what I did was I counted the total carbs, total sugars. By the way, yes, I understand that total sugars fall underneath of the total carbs, but I just wanted them as a count. And then the total calories of all of the meals, and then also the price per meal. So let's take a look at the details for this meal that I have up on the screen. Again, crustable or uncrustable Cheetos, yogurt with Oreo, fruit roll up, and some raspberries. So here we go. All right, $6.01. Based on all the pictures that I took, I went out and I said, okay, let me find a box of this same Cheetos that has like the little 1 ounce package. Let me figure out what the price is, and then let me go ahead and do the math on that and say how much is it per individual bag. And then I sum them all up. And then I did the same thing for the calories and the carbs and the sugars. So this particular meal that we're looking at has 593 calories, 88 carbs, and 36 grams of sugar. Okay, 88 grams of carbs. And so that's a fair bit. Like, I think that's a little more than a kid should have. Right? Now, maybe every great once in a while they go to a birthday party and they, overdo it on cake. Sure. Okay. Um, the other thing, by the way, that I tried to do here is I wanted to make sure that I picked foods that weren't like snooty. Like, I wasn't going and grabbing like super duper gluten free, organic, blah, blah. I was just like, all right, let me grab some food that you can find. I went to Publix. I grabbed food that I believe you could find at Walmart. Okay, that you could find at any store, any grocery store. So I wasn't looking for specialty items. The other thing that I did was I was looking for things that I thought my own kid would eat because my kid is like a normal kid. He actually loves Cheetos. He calls them Tiger Paws, actually. He likes Cheetos. And yes, he does sometimes get these things, right? His lunches virtually never look like what we see here on the screen, because most of his lunches are simply leftovers from dinner, and dinner is generally cooked from scratch or mostly from scratch. Uh, so it was a little harder to do it that way because I would have to like really dig in and find all the ingredients. So I just did it with, okay, let me just see if I can make healthier prepackaged lunches. Okay. So that's what we have. So this is our starting point. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at my first meal that I have. And let's see here. That's not what I want. Let me go down here. There we go. That's what I want. Okay. So here's my first meal. Bam, right up on the screen there. So you can see that I've got some chicken breast slices over to the top left, and over to the right, I got some made good granola bars. And then I personally actually like the Honest Kids organic juices. They don't have any added sugars, they're relatively low in sugar. And then we've got some Mott's applesauce with no sugar added. And I tried my best to find, and I think I did a good job. You can go and if you really wanted to, you could look up and check out all the ingredients, but they have the fewest amount of ingredients that I could find, and I tried to avoid, like, alternatives to sugar and stuff like that. I was basically just like, "Okay, what's the least worst option that I could find based on the ingredient list?" And that's gonna vary depending on who you talk to, right? But I think this is a relatively decent meal, right? We've got some actual chicken strips. These are not breaded, right? These are just chicken slices. And then we've got a granola bar, again, some juice and some applesauce. That's not too bad. So, what are the details here? Now, mind you, I didn't construct this so that I could make a point. I just went and took pictures and came back and said, "All right, let's see how this turns out." All right. So it was like this could have turned out very terrible for me. So here we go. Boom. $5.20 for this particular meal. Now it's a little low on the calories, but not too bad. It's 485. So my son might come home hungry, but maybe not. It just depends on how things go that day. This one has 47 grams of total carbs and 25 grams of sugar. Now remember the previous one was, and I'll oops, the previous one was 593 calories, 88 grams of carbs, and 36 grams of sugar. Okay, so that's what we've got. Whereas this one is 47. So it's almost half the carbs right there. So that's not bad. Like your kids don't need piles and piles of carbs, right? They burn through that energy, yada yada. We're not going to get into all the details. All right, but again, I'm speaking specifically to processed foods. So not a bad meal there. So let's see if we can do a little bit better. So let's see what we get for the next one. So the next one here. All right. So now we've got some different items on the screen here. So I've got up in the upper left hand corner, we got this fruit on the go. It's like a little go squeezy something or other, right? And then we've got some pickles here. And then I've actually got bread. Now, I do buy snobby bread, if you will, but it's not the one that you see here. So again, I went to the store and I said, what bread am I going to find at pretty much any store? And so I found this bread. It looked the cleanest to me when I was looking at the ingredients, but I will admit that I don't really pay too close attention to your typical bread. But when I looked at the ingredient list, I was like, okay, this doesn't seem like it has a lot of preservatives and stuff like that in it. So we've got some cheese slices, right? And then we've got some Black Forest ham, and then again with the juice. Now I only picked out juice for a drink. My son actually only drinks pretty much juice, chocolate milk, or water, and he drinks water quite a bit. So he doesn't drink any soda. So we don't have any of that. I think there are some decent Capri Suns that you could find out there. So there might be some other options, but I'm basically just trying to kind of give an idea, like how can we build a little bit better lunch for the moms that are on the go and the dads that are on the go who maybe don't always have time to make a full on dinner and have plenty for leftovers. I think you should be able to do that, but I understand people have different schedules. So now, what are the meal details on this one? All right, bam. Let's put boom. $6.33, 525 calories, 55 carbs, 27 grams of sugar. And we're still kind of high on the sugar here, okay? But we're lowering our carbs altogether because the initial meal that I showed was like some 80, like 88, and this one is like 55. Okay, so we're doing better. And again, the goal here is healthier. I'm not saying that these are the healthiest meal that you could put together. We are still talking about children, and we want the children to actually eat the meals that we send them with. And we want to make sure, hey, we're not breaking the bank, right? That's really, really important. Remember, it was $6.01 for the original meal. This one now is, and I think this is the most expensive meal that I put together. $6.33 for this when you do the math on it. Okay, and you've got 525 calories. Which, by the way, if you look it up, if you say like, all right, what's the 6-year old supposed to have for calories? It's somewhere in the 500 range. So like what I figured out on my own turned out to be about the roughly recommended caloric intake for a child of that age. All right, so we're doing pretty good. Meal two, not so bad here. All right, so let's see now my third meal. All right, so here's the third meal. Now this one isn't something. I mean, you could do it in the morning if you get up early enough, but this one would require some prep a little bit ahead of time because you can't send them with entirely packaged food. I mean, I guess you could. So we've got up in the left here, we got some oranges, and then I've got some Rouse homemade sauce. I like this sauce because it's actually lower in carbs and sugars. Right. I try to pick low calorie, or not sorry, low calorie, but low carb, low sugar stuff, because if you eat like I just think that when it comes to packaged food, it's not as good for you. If you get a lot of carbs because you ate some carrots, I think you're going to be all right. You're probably not going to be in too much trouble there. Then we've got this Planters Nutrition, Nutrition. Yeah, I guess they call it Nutrition. So it's just like a little nut package. And I've never personally, it's the first time I've actually seen this one, but it looks like something my son would eat. And so I actually might even buy it and give it a shot. And we got the juice again, and then I've got some Rouse homemade spaghetti, which again, you some spaghetti noodles that you would have to cook, right? So this doesn't even have any meat in it at this particular point, but that's okay. Like I think meat is good, but I think if you have a meal every great once in a while that doesn't have meat in it, it's also okay. So I think this is a fine meal to send your kids. So then the question is, all right, well, what's the cost? What are the details? So let's pull up there. $3.46, 555 calories. A little high on the carbs, I guess, 66 carbs, but 18 grams of sugar. So we're not doing so bad if we just, cook some homemade spaghetti. And if you'd thrown some meat in there, well, then you would bump up your calorie intake, but your carbs and your sugars would not go up, right? So this is almost half the cost of the $6.01 from the original meal. And let's be honest, cooking spaghetti is pretty easy. So there's no excuses out there, moms. All right, let's take a look at this last meal. This fourth one. All right, so here we go. Because what kid doesn't like peanut butter and jelly, right? Like they like that's the staple in America. That's practically an American food. I mean, I don't really know if it is or not, but it's a national pastime for children to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Now, look, I get it. There are some schools where they're like, you can't have peanut butter. So maybe you got to do, like almond butter or something like that. So adjust as needed. But I just did with peanut butter, because you could make this meal like at home on a Saturday or a Sunday and be like, here's your lunch. If you're running around and you're busy and you're trying to work in the yard or whatever, right? Maybe this would apply more to the house. So what do we got here? All right, so we have some fruit up in the top left that doesn't have any added sugars, right? It just is, whatever normal sugar comes in it. Then we have some packaged diced pears. You can see where it says no sugar added. By the way, I included the prices on all these, so you can kind of take a look at them. Then we've got this Dave's bread. Same bread as the last one. Again, bread that I thought, man, it's probably not too bad. Our juice again, and then Skippy peanut butter. natural. Again, I started looking for, okay, what has the fewest ingredients, and so there are a number of choices. There's like 50 100 peanut butters out there. I just happen to choose this one because it looked pretty decent. It's something that I would probably feed my kid, and it's something that I could find in pretty much any store. So that was my criteria. So what do we get from this? What are the details here? So the details are $2.48 for 630 calories, 67 carbs, and 30 grams of sugar. I mean, that doesn't seem too bad. That's not breaking the bank there. Now, again, is it the most nutritious, most healthiest meal that you could send your child to school with? No, it's not. But that's not the goal. The goal was to say, rather than just mock people and make fun of them, is there a way to maybe inspire them or educate them and say, actually, there are ways to eat even just a little bit healthier? So let me tell you a little story very quickly because I wasn't always a food snob. I wasn't always the guy that would read the nutrition label before I put it in the cart. Once upon a time, I just ate whatever I wanted: pizza, hamburgers from McDonald's, French fries. And that's where I started. I started with my French fries. I used to love McDonald's French fries. And one day I decided I was going to get healthier, but I was like, how am I going to do this? And I was like, well, if I just go all out, this is going to be painful. So the first thing I did I don't know if they do it anymore. I think they've done away with it. But back in my day, they had the supersized French fry. It was like this ginormous thing of French fries. And I would buy that all the time and I would eat it. And I remember my ex-wife one time made fun of me. She was like, dude, you drink French fries. And I was like, what do you, because I would take the container and I would tip it up and just like let it, shake it right down into my mouth. And she's like, you're literally drinking French fries. And so eventually I wised up and I said, all right, we're going to have to make some dietary changes here. And so the first thing that I did was I stopped ordering supersized fry. That was it. And I didn't change anything else. That was the first thing I did. Right. Today, I could tell you all about healthy eating. Right. But this was like 25 years ago. And I made that one single change. So this episode is dedicated to making that one single change, one step forward, because one step forward is exactly how we get to make America healthy again. And I think what it takes us as individuals to show people how to do things, to educate them. And I was criticizing a science communicator online yesterday, who was getting a little bit snippy with people. And I was like, look, you've got science communicator in your bio. Guess what? You're going to have to deal with all the frustration if you want to be a communicator, because that is part of it, is part of the job. As a communicator, you are going to be saying the same thing over and over and over again, maybe even to the same people, because that's how it works. So we need to get used to the idea that we're going to have to show people repeatedly. And I think if we start showing people, okay, here's an incremental change that takes you in the right direction, right? Without all the judgment, without all the mockery, then I think that's how we make America healthy again. We inspire people, we educate people. Now, I think there still is a place for mockery and lampooning people. So when you see these very heavy people get online and they're like, "This is what I ate in a whole day," and they're like showing all this food, and it's like feels like 5,000 calories that they're showing you for their lunch, and then you're like, "Holy crap!" And then they're like, "Don't tell me I'm unhealthy. My blood pressure's great," and I'm like, and they're like 500 pounds. I think that's the person that we can shame. We can say, "Hey, you're doing a disservice because you're not a mom that's just trying to feed her kids. You're not a dad that's just trying to, get your kid to school with a lunch, right? That's a different person. We're talking about you as the influencer who's out here making a case for unhealthy lifestyle habits. Those people we should absolutely mock them right out of the town square. But then we turn our focus and we look at the other people and we say, "Oh, you're just a mom trying to do a good thing. Here, let me show you a little bit better way to do this." and don't, if you see a mom with, let me go back to that image here, right? Let me go back to that. Where is that picture here? Not that one. It's nope, no. Where did I lost it? This one right here, is it? Nope. Well, I lost my picture. There it is. So, if you're a mom sending your kids to school with this, I should not expect you to say, you know what, I'm going to eat healthier and I'm going to send my kid to school with a kale salad and a healthy yogurt and water or whatever, right? Like, don't be absurd, people. Help people in an incremental way. You know what? Maybe you can do better than Uncrustables, Cheetos, and yogurt with Oreos in a roll up, right? And a fruit roll up. We can do better than that. And like I just showed you, here's how we do better. And look, it doesn't break the bank. Like, I went 32 cents over on a meal than this meal right here. 32 cents. And that was only for one meal. And that gets offset by the other meals, which were significantly cheaper. So there is a way to eat healthy or healthier. I'm going to say healthier and cheaper at the same time. And then as people get used to this small change, then they can make another small change, right? Just like my French fry story. Once I got used to once I started only using the large fry, then I could go down the medium fry. And then eventually I wasn't ordering their fries off. And then now today, I won't even step foot in a McDonald's. Right. Sorry, Mickey D's, but I don't see. I won't even drink their coffee. Right. I'm really snooty. Now you don't have to get to that point. I'm not. That's not the goal here. The goal is to just move the needle forward a little bit. And how do we do it? Well, government's not doing it. They're not going to be able to do it because we've already seen it doesn't work. Kids reject it. We waste a lot of money, a lot of time, energy, and resources implementing that. So it didn't work. Shaming isn't really working, not in my opinion, because it seems to be getting worse because now we have people that are literally fat coming out and saying, I'm totally healthy. And then some of them die while they're on TV gorging on food. Like that has happened. Like they've literally died on camera. There's like one or two of them that it's happened to. We can do better. And that better is to inspire people. All right, let's take some comments and then I got to head on out because I got some things going on today. I took a day off so that I can do more work. All right, let's see. What else we got? Do. Yes. So, and all that stuff is processed mess. Whole food as much as possible, and Publix is more expensive than neighborhood Walmart. Absolutely. And so this is why I did that because, like, if you go to Walmart, arguably all those prices are going to be lower. This is I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but I went to Publix on purpose because I figure if I can make something that's relatively cheap, um, from Publix, then you can totally do it from Walmart. And so I chose specifically things that were just healthier, but also very ubiquitous, like things that are you going to find in any store. And that was my goal. And I really didn't know how it was going to turn out. Like I could have gotten home, put everything, together, and then found out that I was making $10 meals. Like I had no idea I could have ruined the whole episode. But it turns out eating healthy can be done, or eating healthier. I want to say it that way. Eating healthier can be done without breaking the bank. All right, folks, that's my show today. I'm going to get out of here. Hope you enjoyed it. So let's get to that closing, and I will see you guys again Monday morning with another bill review. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this episode informative and inspiring. Be sure to catch me Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. for an informed discussion on politics and culture. Make sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, or if you prefer my Rumble channel, you can go to youtube.libertydad.com, or you can go to rumble.libertydad.com. While you are there, let me know how I'm doing by leaving me a comment. You can also become part of the community by heading over to libertydad.locals.com. Remember, if you're a champion of liberty, your business is people and your product is liberty. I want you to have a great week. Catch you next time. But for now, I'm out.